All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to tackle something that, let's be honest, trips up a ton of developers, the JavaScript date object. My goal here is to get you from feeling kind of confused to totally confident. And we're going to do it fast. So let's get right to it. You know that feeling, right? You're fighting with time zones, you're off by 1 month, and you can't figure out why, or you're just trying to do something simple, like show 5 minutes ago. Trust me, you are not alone. Dealing with dates is a classic developer headache, but it really doesn't have to be. So here's the game plan. We're going to break this down into 5 easy steps. First, we'll get properly introduced to the date object. Then we'll see how to actually make them and read them. After that, I'll show you a super powerful trick for manipulating dates. Then we'll look at how they're secretly just numbers. And finally, we'll pull it all together with a real world example. Okay, first things first. What exactly is this thing that we're all trying to get the hang of? So the date object is JavaScript's built-in tool for anything time-related. And here's the most important thing to get right away. It always stores both a date and a time. Always. You can't just have one or the other. Think of that like a single perfect snapshot of one specific moment in time. All right, enough theory. That's great and all, but let's get our hands dirty. How do we actually make one of these date objects and then, get the information back out of it? You've basically got 4 main ways to do this. The easiest is just new date with empty parentheses. That gives you right now, this very second. You can also feed it a single giant number, a timestamp. We'll talk more about that in a sec. You can give it a nice clean date string, or you can build it piece by piece with the year, the month, the day, and so on. And that brings us to this really core concept, the timestamp. This is basically the engine inside every single JavaScript date. It's just one big number, the number of milliseconds since a specific point in the past, called the Unix epoch. And because it's just a number, it makes storing dates and comparing them super, super efficient. Okay, so you've made a date. Now you need to read it. Get full year and get date are straightforward. They do exactly what they say. But now, listen up, because here come the 2 biggest gotchas, the things that trip up everybody at first. Get month and get day. They are both 0 indexed. What does that mean? It means January is month 0, not 1, and Sunday is day 0, not 1. Seriously, just burning that into your brain will save you so much headache down the road. Alright, now for my favorite part. Let's talk about one of the most powerful and, honestly, kind of magical features of the date object. It's a feature called auto correction. And what it means is that if you give the date object a value that seems impossible, it doesn't crash, it doesn't throw an error, it just figures it out. So, take a look at this. We're trying to make a date for January 32nd. We all know there's no such thing as January 32nd. So what's going to happen here? Is the code just going to break? Does it just give up? Let's see what JavaScript actually does with this. And there it is, February 1st. That's autocorrection in action. JavaScript knows that January only has 31 days, so it just takes that extra day and automatically rolls it over to the next month. No errors, no fuss, just a logical, predictable result. It's awesome. And this is why it's such a game changer for doing date math. You don't have to write complicated logic to check for the end of the month or even worry about leap years. Want to know the date 2 days after February 28th? Just add 2. The date object handles everything and correctly tells you it's March 1st. It just works. So now let's peek under the hood a little bit. We're going to see how the fact that dates are just numbers can be a secret weapon when you need to squeeze out some extra performance. So here's a really cool side effect of dates being built on those timestamps we talked about. You can do math with them directly. If you just subtract one date object from another, what you get back is the difference between them in milliseconds. This is absolutely perfect for timing things, like seeing how long a function takes to run. But if you're really chasing performance, there's an even better way. The method dateNow gives you the current timestamp directly as a number. It's way faster than doing new date because it skips the whole step of building a new object. It just gives you the number. So that begs the question, right? When you're finding the difference between 2 dates, is it better to just subtract the objects directly and let JavaScript figure it out? Or should you be explicit and call the .getTime method on both of them first to get the numbers yourself? Well, the results here speak for themselves. Using .getTime explicitly is way faster. By getting the number yourself, you're saving the JavaScript engine from having to do that extra work of type conversion. You can just do the simple math. So the big takeaway for performance is be explicit. It pays off. All right, let's bring this all home. We're going to put everything we just learned into practice and solve a really common real-world problem. So here's a super common task you've seen a million times on social media or blogs. We need a function that can take a date and format it nicely so it says right now or 30 seconds ago or something like that. And here is how we can do it. Using everything we've talked about. First, we get the difference in milliseconds. Just subtract the old date from a new date. Simple. Then it's just a chain of if checks. Is the difference less than a second? Then it's right now. Is it less than a minute? Cool. We'll calculate how many seconds ago it was. Less than an hour? We'll figure out the minutes. And if it's older than that, we just fall back to showing the full date. It's a perfect little example that uses date creation, subtraction, and some simple logic. Okay, so to wrap it all up, if you remember nothing else from this, remember these key things. First, watch out for those zero indexed months and days. January is 0. Second, make autocorrection your best friend for any date math. Third, remember you can just subtract dates to get milliseconds. And finally, when you need speed, date.now is your go-to. Look, I know the JavaScript date object can seem like a beast at first, but once you get these core ideas down, you can really stop fighting with time in your code and start making it do some powerful things for you. So hopefully this helps you go build something amazing. Happy coding!